So today we are going to discuss about parameterized reports with calculated fields and how we can implement parameters in dashboards. These are the topics. So what is a parameter and how we can use it in Tableau desktop, and parameters with sets, and how to do swap measures, swap dimensions, and how to use reference lines. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss today. So basically, parameters is very much important topic. So we use this parameter to pass the values to the calculations. So a parameter is any value passed to a program in order to customize the program for a particular purpose. So any calculation that we create in Tableau, it will use the Tableau data or the data that is coming from the sample superstore, or if you connect to any Excel data source. So the calculation that I create, so which uses the existing fields. But parameter is something which will not use the existing data. So this is a value where you can pass this value to the calculations or to the parameters, to filters, to reference lines, to sets. We can pass the values. So now we will see all the options. So parameters are used to pass the values to calculation field, calculation field, and we can pass the value to filters. We can pass the values to sets, reference lines. So these many options are there. So we can pass the value. Then what type of values we can pass? So the values are, we can pass float, integer, string, date, date and time, boolean. Okay, so you can pass these many values. So now let's see one by one. So how we can pass the values to parameters and how that will help in our Tableau. And also we can do some of the operations in Tableau, like swap dimensions, swap measures, and sheet selector. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about all these options. So as I had told, parameter is to pass the values. So these are the values that parameter will pass to calculation field or filters or sets or reference lines. And based on, by using this only, we will create swap dimensions, swap measures, sheet selector. So we will see one by one how to pass these values. So we'll see how we can create a parameter. So you can create by clicking on the drop down here, and you can also go to this dashboard, go to analysis, and also you can create here. Okay, so by clicking on this drop down, let's try. So create a parameter, and let's pass the values. So this is the option. So click on this drop down, and where we can see this create parameter option. And now let's start with one type of value. So as I said, these many values we can use. So we'll start with one type of value. Let's say customer name I will take. So before creating a parameter, I will keep some data. So sales, and sort it, and put the customer name in the filter, and use top and by field. And I want top 10 sum of sales, and say okay. And I want this value to be controlled by the user. So if I want to control this value, so whatever value I'm entering here, I want this to be controlled by the user. So for that, what I will do, I will create a parameter. So click on this drop down, click on create parameter. Okay, so select top value, top value. And so I want to enter a integer value. So, and I want from a range from 1 to 100. So select 1 to 100, and step size should be, let's say 5, or let's keep it as 1 for now. Okay, select top value, or let's remove. Select top value and select integer. So these are the options that I have told you. So float, integer, string, boolean, date and time. So these are the values that we can pass. So now I'm showing you about integer, and let's say okay. Say okay and show this parameter. So currently it is showing you this top value parameter, and instead of slider, keep this type in option. So type in where you can enter the value directly. Okay, so now I have created this top value parameter, and I will try entering some value. Okay, I have entered 5, but here this is not interacting. I mean, this is not reacting to this parameter. So to react, I need to add this parameter or include this parameter value. So I will try to pass on this value to this filter. Okay, so in the drop down, you will be able to see the parameter that we have created. So select top value is the parameter that I have just created. So if I select this parameter, so I can control this filter by using the parameter that I have created. So let me click on this and say okay. So currently this select top value has 5 in it. So it will show you top 5 seeds. Say okay. Yeah. So now I'm able to control this filter using this parameter. So as I have entered 5 over here, I'm able to see top 5 seeds. And let's say if I enter 10, and you can see the number of customers will now become from 5 to 10. So likewise, you can enter values till 100. So if I enter 95, it will show you 95 top customers based on the sum of sales. So this is how we can control filter. So now that we have seen how to use parameters in filters. So there will be a drop down which will be available where you can select the parameter that you have created, or if you want to create a new parameter, you can create here itself. You can just click on create a new parameter. You will see the same options that we have seen when we have created from this drop down. Okay, so now that we have seen about this one, okay, and now okay, so these are the options that I have told you. So use parameter in a calculation, how to use parameter in a filter, reference line, and how to show a parameter control in the Wiz. So that these are the options that we are going to see. So now let's see how to use parameter in a calculation. So let me take sales, and I'll also take subcategory. Okay, so currently I can see subcategory wise sales. So I'll just put this dimension name or put subcategory, say okay. Or you can just enter subcategory by sales. Okay, so this is my normal sheet without any parameters. So in the title, I will mention without parameters. Say okay. Okay, so in the title, I have mentioned subcategory wise sales without parameters. So without parameters. And next sheet I will create with parameters. I'll make a duplicate of this one with parameters. Okay, so here I will use, instead of sum of sales, I will also want to see sum of profit. So remove this value and I want to see profit. But I want to see at a time, I want to see sum of sales and sum of profit. So I want to give user the option to select between these two different measures. So user will not be able to have the option of dragging from this data pane. So user will only see this one or whatever the parameters that we provide him. Okay, so to provide the access to the user, so what I will do is I'll create a parameter with string. So we are using one more option, which is string. So I'll create select select KPI, let's say. Okay, select KPI. Why I keep it as KPI is KPI is a key performance indicator. Okay, so which tells the business performance. So which gives us the information about the business. So I will enter the list. So I want to see sales and profit. Say okay. Okay, so now that I have created this parameter, so it has sales and profit. Okay, so normal parameter won't have any effect in any worksheet or any calculation. I need to pass on these values to a calculated field. So then only this chart will get interact with this parameter. So now I will control this particular chart using this parameter. So if select KPI is equals to sales, then sum of sales, else if select KPI is equals to profit, then sum of profit. Yeah. So basically what I'm trying to do here is, so when this parameter is equal to sales, I want it to show sum of sales. And whenever I have selected profit, I want to see sum of profit. So that is the basic condition. So now I'm passing this value to this calculation. So you can swap measures using this. Say okay. Okay, so now this particular calculation which I have written, this will hold two values, basically profit and sales. So that toggle I can do by using this parameter, sales and profit. So whenever I select profit, I will be able to see profit. Whenever I select sales, I will be able to see sales. So now I'll keep this swap measures instead of this single value. So if you put sum of profit or sum of sales, it will only show one value at a time. Here also it will show one value at a time, but you can swap. So I'll just rename this. Okay, so this is also subcategory wise sales, but this is with parameters. This is with parameters. So instead of writing normal sales, I will take this KPI, this parameter. So select KPI parameter. So here it is, parameters.select KPI. So whatever I select here, if I select sales, it will show sales. If I select profit, it will show profit. So let's see. Because now it is showing you subcategory wise sales. So the values are also related to subcategory wise sales. So I tooltip also I will edit. So instead of this, I'll put select KPI. Say okay. So you can see subcategory wise sales information. So now I will change. So it will change in 3 places. So you can see the title will change and the value of this value will change to sales to profit. And also in the tooltip, you can see subcategory chase and below you can see sales and $335,768. So sales will change to profit there. So click on this profit and you can see subcategory wise profit and the value is changed from sales to profit. And in the in the tooltip also it is showing you profit. So this way we can make use of parameters so that we can pass the values. So sales, profit, or like this. Or even if you want to add other dimensions as well. Let's say parameter. I also want to add discount. So what I will do, I will add one more value here, discount, and say okay. Okay. And if I click on discount, so currently it is not showing anything. Why? Because I'm passing this value to this calculation. But if you go to our calculation, I have not written anything for discount. So I need to write one more condition for discount. Okay, so whenever this discount is selected, what needs to happen? I have not given information to this calculation field. So now I will write. So whenever this parameter is equals to discount, then show sum of discount and say okay. Okay, now if you select discount, you can see what is the discount value for subcategory. And you can see the title is also getting changed, subcategory wise discount. So this is with parameters, swap measures with parameters. Yep. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hmm. अभी डाला है. Hmm. Hmm. Correct. So whenever you create parameters, you connect these parameters with calculations. So I'm just passing this value to parameter. Based on that, my sheet is interacting. Okay, so that is about swap measures with parameters, and I will also do swap. Make a copy of this. I will do swap dimensions with parameters. Dimensions with parameters. Okay, so with this now I'm able to control the measure values. So we'll do similar type of function for this subcategory also. So instead of subcategory, if I want to see the data based on category, let's say, I need to drop that and I need to put it manually. Or I want to see based on some other value, let's say region. Okay, so every time I need to drop and put the new column again. So instead of doing that, okay, instead of doing that, I can put a calculation which is controlled by parameter so that I can toggle between region, category, subcategory like that. So I'll create a new parameter, select dimension. So in this also I will need to select string. So when here I am entering this text value, so I will need to select string, and I will need the list. So I want to swap between region, subcategory, and category. So you need this option, right? Whenever you want to select the region, you want to see region. So in all, you will not have any. You don't have anything to select, right? So you need the list to compare to see the difference between the categories. I mean the columns or the dimensions. Region, subcategory, and we also have category. Okay, so with this I will control the column shelf field. So if I want to see region, I should be able to see region column values like central, east, south, west. If I want to see category, so if I click on the category, I should be able to see that. So say okay. So show this parameter. Okay, so if you normally select this sheet won't react. Why? Because I should pass the values to one calculation field, and I need to use, instead of this region column, I need to use that calculation field. Until unless I do that, so this parameter won't react with the sheet. So now I'll create a calculation field and name it as swap dimensions. Swap dimensions. Okay, so if my region is equals to, sorry, if my parameter select dimension is equals to region, then I want to see region which is coming from the database. So you need to identify the difference. So let's say if it is in purple color, so that is a parameter, and if it is in orange color, so that is the field which is coming from the data source. And let's say one more condition I will write, else if select dimension equals to category, then category. Else if select dimension equal to subcategory, then subcategory. And okay, so basically what I've done is, so whenever I select a region, then it should show region field. So this field it should show. And whenever I select subcategory, so this names, whatever I have written in the parameter should exactly match, even it is case sensitive. If you write small and so you write small letters here and caps letters here, so Tableau won't identify that. So it is case sensitive. So you need to write exactly whatever you have written in the parameter. So then only you can use this calculation. And let's say okay. So now I will replace this region, single region column with swap dimension. Okay, so currently it is selected with category. So you are able to see category. And in the title also, I will make this as dynamic. So instead of writing static subcategory, I will use swap dimensions. Say okay. And in the tooltip also, I will mention, I'll insert this swap dimension, select dimension. Say okay. Sorry, so I did this tooltip and use swap dimension here. So you want to see the name of that particular thing. Say okay. Okay, so the category name is office supplies and discount is this much. So, and here also I will use, instead of swap dimension, I will use whatever I have selected. I want to see it in the title. I will use select dimension. Okay, now I have selected category and discount. So it is category wise discount. So if I want to select region, so I should be able to see region wise discount. So even you can see it in the title, and when you hover on that, so you can see it is showing you. One second, we'll change this one also. So we'll change it to select dimension. Okay, so it will show you region and discount. So in this way you can control, you can see the data of 9 different sheets. So let's say there's a combination of, let's say for region you can see sales, profit, discount. For subcategory you can see sales, profit, discount. So that means for each and every combination you can see 3 into 3. So 9 combinations you can see. So in a single sheet, I'm able to make 9 combination of dimension and measure. So I can see subcategory wise sales, subcategory wise profit and all. Yeah. So all this can be controlled using this thing. So let's say if you are using without parameters, if you do, you might end up creating different worksheets. So you need to create for subcategory separately, region separately. So likewise, you need to create different worksheets. Let's say subcategory. Yeah. So this is only for sales now I have created. Okay. So you might need to create 9 worksheets to see this type of information. Okay. So if you can click on this, within one click only, you will be able to see 9 different worksheets. So subcategory wise sales you can see, and region wise uh, profit if you want to see. Like, you just need to swap between the existing measures. And yeah, so now we'll see what if we keep all option here. Okay, so in all option you will not be able to see the list. Okay, so I want to control this. I want to see the swap dimensions to be changed accordingly, but I'm not able to see it. Okay, so let's say I have written this calculation, so you have to manually type in. So let's say if I'm not giving any list, okay, I need to type in, as I know what I have written in the calculation, swap dimensions. So let's say I know if I write category, then I can see category information. So I need to write exactly how it is here. So I need to type in exactly. So then I can see category information. What happens if the spelling is wrong? Let's say category. Okay, it won't match and it won't show you anything related to dimensions. So that is the reason we are giving the list. Otherwise, you need to manually enter the names and all. So it is good that if we provide the list, region, category, subcategory. Say okay. Yeah. So with the list, we can directly select it. So compact list. Yeah. Like this, you can select. And there is also, like, you can see the radio buttons. So even you can use radio buttons. For this also you have radio buttons. So instead of dragging and dropping, you can just directly click on this. Or if you use type in this case, it will not be that good. So you need to know the exact spelling. You will not see the list. Type in will be good only in case of this one, where we know the numbers. Like if you want to see top 5, top 10 or top 15. So it will be good only in case of numbers, as we know what to enter and all. Or we can specify in the title 1 to 100. Okay, like this. But in text you can't say enter from A to Z or like that. So we need to give some list. So, or you can give sliders and all. So like this we can toggle. So these are the multiple options that are available for parameter. So I'll just take a pause. So if you have any questions. Okay, Rakib, can you tell me how this swap dimensions works and how to pass the values? Okay, okay. Himanshu, can you tell me what are the values that we can pass to uh, pass through parameter. Mhm. Yeah, so actually we can pass these many values like float, integer, string. This I mean I'm asking about type of values that we can pass. Yeah, so these many type of values we can pass. And Divya, can you tell me where all we can use this parameters? So where do we pass this parameter values to? Mhm. So we pass the values to calculated fields, filters, sets, reference line. So we have seen two different things right now. So I have shown you how to pass the values to calculated field and how to pass the values to filters. So in the first example that we have seen, so here I am trying to pass this parameter value, select top value to filters. So here the parameter I'm using it here, select top value, so that whatever I'm entering here, so I'm able to control this filter by using this. So if I enter 10, so now a 10 value is entered here uh, in this option. So top 10 sum of sales. So basically I'm able to control this filter by using this parameter. In the same way, so I have written some calculation fields. So using these parameters, select dimension, select KPA. So these are the parameters that I'm using. So by using these parameters, I'm controlling this calculation. So whenever my selection is region, it will show region. And whenever my selection is category, it will show category accordingly. So this is a process. So I'm able to pass the values to uh, calculated fill and filters. Now we'll see how to pass the values to sets and reference line. So now I'll show you how to create top 5 and bottom 5 set and how to use those things in parameters. So let me take customer name and sales and I'll sort it. So here you can see in the descending order, so whatever is the sum of sales. So Sean Miller is the topmost customer. So he has made $25,000 of sales. And I want to see top 5 customers right now at this point of time. So I will create a set. So every time if I use that set, I can see the top 5 customers. So right click on the customer. So the process to create a set is to right click on the customer and go to create and click on set. Go to top and click on by field and select 5. Okay, so now I'll show you just the static value. Later I will create the parameter and I will show it to you. So first of all, I'm creating for top 5. So I'll rename this as top 5 set and say okay. Okay, so currently I have all the customer names, but if I use this top 5 set in the filters, I should be able to see only the top 5. Okay, so this is top 5. Basically, this is top 5 set. And in the next sheet, I will create a set for bottom 5. Sales and just sort it accordingly. Sort it descending order and go below. So these are my bottom 5 customers who are giving the less number of sales, less sum of sales. So I want to filter these people, these customers. To do that, it is the same procedure. You just need to right click on the customer name and go to create, click on set, go to top and type in bottom 5 and click on by field and select 5. So I'm here you will have the option to select top or bottom. Okay, so change it to bottom and say okay. Okay, so now that I have created bottom 5 set. So if I use this bottom 5 set in the filter, so then these names will be filtered. So click on bottom 5 and put it in the filter shell. So you can see those names. So this is bottom 5 set. Okay, now I want to see this top 5 people, and I also want to see this bottom 5 people together in one single worksheet. So to do that, I'll put this customer name and I'll put sales and I'll sort this. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to do is I want to see this top 5 customers and I also want to see this bottom 5 in single sheet. So together I need to combine. So to do that, what we need to do is, so just control select on bottom 5 and top 5 set. So right click, create a combined set, and you can write top and bottom top and bottom 5 set. So say okay. Okay, so now you put this in filter, so then you will be able to see this top 5 and the below bottom 5. Okay, so those will be visible. So I'll just put it in the filter. Yeah. So this way I can see top and bottom 5 together in one single sheet. So this is top and bottom 5 set. Okay, so and now I will create a duplicate of this one. Okay, so top and bottom, let's say instead of 5, I'll put n. N is nothing but you can change by using parameters. So I will give the option to the user so that he can control how many number of top and bottom that he want to see. So I will just go to this top 5 set again. Click on edit set. So instead of using a static value, static number 5, so I will create a new parameter. Select top or bottom value. Okay, if you are selecting from here, from the set, so this data type will be automatically set to integer. So you will not have option to change to different. So earlier we have seen these many types, data types, float to integer, string and all. But here we are trying to control it from here. So it will only, we need to allow only integer value. So I will give the range from 1 to 100 and say okay. So the current value is 5. Say okay. And I'll go to bottom 5 set as well. Edit set. So there also I will use the same parameter. Select top or bottom value and say okay. And show this parameter. So whatever I have created there, I can see that parameter below here. So whatever parameters that we have created at any point of time, all these parameters will be shown here. And right click on this, show right click on this. Mhm. Okay, so let me just create a parameter. Okay, let me just type in here, select top value, top or bottom. Yeah. Okay, so click on this show parameter and just type in. Okay, so currently it is entered 5 value. So you can see top 5 and bottom 5. And instead of that, I want to see, let's say 3 only. So I can see only top 3 and bottom 3. And if I want to see 10, so 10 top values and 10 bottom values. So this way I can control a set also. So we have seen how to control calculated field and how to control filter. And we have also seen how to control a set. Now we'll see how do we create reference line and how to use a parameter in reference line. Yeah, Rakesh. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. You can't enter beyond 100. So when I try to enter 101, it will not take. It will be allowed only till 100. So if I try to enter 200, it will not take. So I can control that. What user needs to enter, so I can control. So if I just enter, let's say, showing 100 top values is not making sense. Let's put some 15. Okay. So user will not be able to enter more than 15. So if I try to enter 50, it will not take. Yeah. So that way we can use parameters. And now we'll see for how to create reference lines and how we can use parameter in reference line. To create reference lines, we need to have access for that. So any access we need to have. So subcategories, sales, and click on bar chart. Okay, so here you have an axis. So whenever you have an axis like this, you can add a reference line. Okay, so by default, it will show you average. So click on this. So it is calculate an average based on these values. So it will sum up all the values and divide it by the number of line items. So here we have 17 subcategories. So 17 subcategories are there. And so total sum of sales divided by 17, which will give you the average. To see the average, so instead of computation, put the value. So here it is giving you the average value. Okay, so so basically it is showing you the value here. So this value, what you are seeing. So to show a line, whether the subcategory values, whether these are crossing this reference line. So whether, so if you see there are some subcategories which are less than average value. So to highlight that, so we can see appliances, art, bookcases, envelopes. So there are some subcategories which are less than the average of the sales. Excuse me. Less than the average of the sales. So instead of average, let's say I want to see which are the subcategories which are crossing $200,000. So I will edit reference line. And instead of this value, I'll put a parameter. So parameter, I will enter the value. So here it is taking automatically the float value. Okay, so enter sales value. Sales value. Say okay. And say okay. So here I will enter sum 200,000. Okay, so I will get a line at $200,000. So I can visually see which are crossing $200,000. So you can see binders, chairs, phones, storage, tables, all these are crossing the $200,000. So even not only that, I want to see with a calculation as well. So if my sum of sales is greater than enter sales value, then beyond the target, else below the target. We'll write this as met the target, and this is not met the target. And okay, so I will use this as a color condition. Say okay, and put this in the color. Okay, so now I will be able to see which are the ones which are crossing $200,000 and which are the ones which are below $200,000. So with this, I'm controlling the reference line and I'm also controlling the color of the bars. So let's say if I enter $100,000. Okay, so whatever is highlighted in blue color, those are met the target. So it has crossed the 100,000 milestone, and you can see those are colored in a different color, and which are not met the target, so those were shown in a different color. And not only integers, you can also enter in decimal places also. So because this is a float value, so you can enter like this. You might not see that here. Why? Because it is in 100K and 200K, but this parameter type data type is float. So here you can enter values like after decimal places also you can enter. Say okay. And you can see that value coming here. So I have entered 100,000 dot 5568562 like this. So this way you can enter decimal places, but whenever this parameter is selected as an integer. Okay, now I'm keeping it as an integer. So now let's try to enter some decimal places. So it will not take. So if it is an integer, it will not take any decimal places. You can just enter this integer values. So you can see 1,50,000, whichever crosses 1,50,000 is coming in a different color. So this way we can make use of reference lines. And for reference lines, we have one more session. So there are a lot of things to discuss about reference lines. So these many options which are available. So I will tell you about reference lines in the upcoming sessions. So for now, you can understand about these parameters and how to use parameters in reference lines. So it is just you need to select the sales value. Click on this, edit reference line. Okay, so in the value, what I have selected is I have selected a parameter. So usually you can take sum of sales or average of sales like that, or manually also you can enter a static value. But instead of putting a static value, you can give the access to the user so that user enters this value. Okay, so and also, so here I'm not giving the list. So I'm telling it has all value so that a user can enter any value starting from 1 to you can enter any value, infinite values you can enter. Let's say if I give a list, so I will give a list so that user can enter values between 100,000, and if I give list like this, and he will be able to enter only these values, not beyond this. and I will give a compact list. So if I select 200,000, so like this, they can select, so they can see the list. Otherwise, I can also control till how many values they can enter. So if you click on all, so 1 to infinite, they can enter any value. And if I give list, whatever the numbers that I'm providing in this list, only those numbers only they can use. Apart from that, they can't enter any values. And if I use this range, so I can restrict the user what is the starting number he can enter and what is the maximum number he can enter. I can even select the step size as well. So if I give minimum 1 lakh to 3 lakh, and they can enter only the numbers between 1 lakh and 3 lakh. So I can enter only 1 lakh, like 1,50,000, or starting from 1 lakh 1. Okay, so I can enter 1 lakh to 3 lakhs, any numbers. But if I try to enter the low value, 50,000? So it will take the least one, which is 1 lakh. What if I try to enter 3,50,000? It will take the next most nearest value. So it will not allow me to enter the beyond 3 lakhs value. So that way we can control. So that is about these three options. So when you select all, 1 to infinite, they can enter any value. So let's say 10 lakhs, which doesn't make any sense in this case. Why? Because I have values only till 3,35,000. Okay, I can see a reference line at 10 lakhs. So nothing, no subcategory cross this reference lines. Okay, so then there is no point. So in such cases, what you can do is you can put a range so that user will not enter the random numbers. So I will control it like so that user can enter value from 50,000 to not more than 5 lakhs. Say okay. Okay, not even 5 lakhs. Let's put 3 lakhs. Say okay. Okay, so like this we can create. So user can enter between 50,000 to 3 lakhs. Yeah, so that's about parameters. So we have seen on how to pass the values to calculated field, filters, and sets and reference line. And we have seen different data types, float, integer, string, and all. So how to pass those values. And now we'll see how to pass date to the parameter. Okay, I will show you how to, let's select order date. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, default it will be selected as. Yeah, I will show you. Static value is a number that you can enter so that user can't control. So if I add a reference line, so average, it is calculating total sum and dividing it by number of subcategories, and it is giving you value. So when I say static number, select constant, and manually I'm entering this number 100,000. That is static. So and user can't control this number. If I give a parameter, user can control this line. Yeah, this line, if I enter 100,000 here, it will go to the 100,000. But if you go to here, so there is no button, or user can't enter any value until unless as a developer we can control this value. I can edit this reference line and I can change it to 2 lakh like this. But here I am giving access to the user so that he can also control. Yeah, so that's about that. And now I'll try to control date value. So create a parameter and select date and say okay. Okay, so this is a date parameter, show parameter, and you can see the calendar here. And let's put this parameter 8 date filter, you can say. Put it in this. Or I'll just write order date equals to parameter 8 and say okay, and calculation 1, and I'll select true. Okay, so whenever I select this parameter, okay, now I have selected 26/5/2023, and I'm passing this value to this calculation 1, and I'm rename this as date calc. Okay, so now I'm passing this value to this date calculation, and whenever this condition is true, I want to see the data accordingly. So I want to see 26th May 2023 data, and I'll use this. Or else if I want 10th May, in 10th there are no records. So 9th May, if I select, I should be able to see 9th May data. So this way I'm also able to pass the date also. So earlier we have seen examples to how to pass float integer. So float integer we have used on sets and filters, and float we have used for reference lines, and strings we have used for swap dimensions and swap measures. So that is about these options. So we have created swap dimensions and measures. Now that we are seeing date and time. Okay, so this is a process that you can pass date parameter, and there are a lot of options that are there. So here also you'll have all and list, which dates to be selected, and so we can give the option to select the list of dates. Or when you say all, you will see the calendar itself, the entire calendar. You can starting from day 1 to infinite dates you can select. So that you can control. If you select all, then you can't control. And range is similar to what we have seen for this float values. So you can give a minimum value and the maximum value. So then user can enter between those values. Let's say I will give only month of time. So 1st of May to 31st of May. So then user can enter only values till these dates. Okay, you can't go beyond. So you can enter only till 1st May to 31st May. Like this you can go. So if I try to click on the next month also, it will not allow me to click. And if I say all, so you can go to next month. So infinite number of dates you can go. So you will not have any control. So we can restrict the user to which number to which date to be selected. And when you say list, and you can specify which dates to be selected exactly. Say okay. So here we can give the list, which dates to be selected and all. And 20 01/05/2023. Say okay. So this way we can give the list of dates. Yeah, so that's about how we can use all these data types and how we can pass on these values to calculation fields, filters, sets, and reference line. So this is about parameterized reports. So with that, we have completed Tableau session 14. So any questions? Okay, yeah. So I will change this to date and time. So he will also have the option to select time as well. Say okay. And I'll make this as custom. Exactly. Let's take date. Okay, there is no date with the date and time. 1 second. So usually from the data only, so you need to get in this format. So otherwise you can't use this date and time. So let me see if I have any time field. So when you have date and time, right? So you'll get a symbol, calendar with a time symbol, watch symbol. I will get you that information later. So I don't have any fields which have date and time. So if you have date and time, you'll see a icon like this. So in the field, it is not there. So this is a calculation field that I have created. But from the data source, I don't have any fields I can see. So usually what happens is, so I'm just trying to show this as a date and time. But it is doesn't contain time in this, so I can't show that. So make it discrete. So till day level only we can see. So you can still filter on the time as well. So basically you can see 001, 002, or you can in that particular day, if you want to select 5 hours or 6 hours like that, also we can. So it's the same thing basically. If you have date and time in your data, so if you also want to pass this date and time, you can just pass. Hours, minutes, seconds. So 00, first one is hours, next one is minutes and seconds. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Any other questions? Okay, then thank you all for joining. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.